As we approach the main entrance of Norton Simon Museum, we see this bronze green sculpture next to the parking lot. And this is work by British artist Barbara Hepworth called Foursquare or Walk Through, 1966. It's open to interpretation like much of her work, but it's often seen as a meditation on space, interaction, or the relationship between people and their environment. Now we see this beautiful garden, frontal garden, and another very famous artist, Auguste Rodin, with his work The Burghers of Calais. These monumental bronze sculptures depict six French citizens who offered themselves as hostages during the Hundred Years' War. And this is his walking man. Auguste Rodin is celebrated as a pioneer of modern sculpture, known for capturing raw emotions and movement in his work. He often left surfaces unfinished, emphasizing texture and the human form's imperfection. No need to say how beautiful those streets did I say streets? Jesus Christ. How beautiful those trees and their shadows look. There's even an eagle. And I like the color of that tile. An admission in the museum is not free. It's $20, but it's worth it because museum is large and beautiful. And when we enter inside, we see another work by Barbara Hepworth that's called Rock Form or Perskruna. Never heard this name before. Hopefully I pronounced it right. 1964. Perskruna is basically a name of the small town in England where Barbara Hepworth used to live and work next to this town. Also now we see this beautiful collection of South and East Asian art. Besides that, museum houses an impressive collection of European paintings, sculptures, the Renaissance to the 20th century, and also along with the collection of authentic artwork by some of the greatest artists in history, including you all know Van Gogh, Monet, Picasso, Edgar Degas, Rembrandt, Rodin, Hepworth that we just saw earlier. And I was surprised by this very rich history of the museum because on their website it says that museum originally was a Pasadena Art Institute founded in 1922, which is crazy. In April 1942, the institute merged with the one-year-old, that time, Pasadena Museum of Modern Art. And over the next 2 decades, Pasadena Art Museum earned an international reputation for organizing and presenting critically acclaimed exhibitions of 20th century art. They presented the first retrospective of the work of the Marcel Duchamp, exhibitions of Andy Warhol, Joseph Cornell, and more. But honestly, despite all the success, it was saying that museum was struggling financially and even was faced with the bankruptcy and closure. So the trustee in 1974 reached an agreement with the businessman and philanthropist Norton Simon. And after the renovation and combining their Pasadena Art Museum and Norton Simon's personal collection, it reopened in 1975 with the name the Norton Simon Museum of Art at Pasadena. So when in the museum, I kept thinking, is this art is truly authentic? Because it didn't seem to me like that. First of all, isn't it supposed to have more barrier between the art itself and between like my breath, between the people, and isn't it supposed to have more security? So little did I know that authentic and original art, and it's stated that in this museum's authentic art is two different things. Basically, original art, the one who usually has more security, more protection barrier, it's usually the art that was produced by the greatest artist itself, so by his own hand. And authentic art is the art that was produced at the same period of time and by the same materials from the original artist's work, but only by his students or on the workshops. Did you know that? Because I did not. It's also interesting how this fascination, admiration, and maybe even obsession over naked human body, particularly naked woman body, didn't fade and probably will never fade. But at the same time, I feel the primary, obviously there is no rules, especially in art and creativity, but I feel the primary task, a goal of the art is the meaning, the expression, not selling or getting attention, unless the marketing, right? So I feel in art particularly, I feel just personally more drawn to the art that took my attention and, took my thoughts, my feelings without any nudity involved. It's just to me more fascinating, more interesting. Like, wow, this is really impressed me. This is really took my attention without just pure appreciation for like nudity. Because I feel when I started to sort of like growing up, in my late teens, I just started realizing how sort of boring this trick is. I understand that some artists will probably truly like admire the naked human body, maybe without any lust involved, but even though I don't think so, because lust is like part of the stimuli that made us be fascinated into naked body. But still, just like when I think about it logically, intellectually, I feel that if something impressed you and took all your thoughts without like nudity, it's just make it even more, I don't know, more iconic, more perhaps more meaningful, or perhaps more worthy. The garden is really centered around the reflecting pond, decorated with several varieties of water lilies and lotus flowers, really inspired by Claude Monet water lily ponds and Giverny. Sculpture Garden was designed to complement museum's collection, with the sculptures by Henry Moore, Maylol, Auguste Rodin, and Barbara Hepworth that we saw early in the frontal part of the garden. With the great timeless art, there is always a pressure for museums design. And Norton Simon Museums was originally designed by architect Ladon Kelsey in 1966. However, the museum's notable renovation and expansion in the 1970s was overseen by architect Roger Tomlinson. His redesign added galleries and updated the space to accommodate the museum's growing collection. Tomlinson's work emphasized the integration of the museum with the surrounding landscape, enhancing its connection to the natural beauty of the area. And this is what Norton Simon said himself, quote, "One of the most profound means of human communication is the visual arts. By establishing a meaningful dialogue between an artist's vision of the world and our own perceptions, art can help us to understand ourselves more fully. Moreover, art at its finest gives us a deep sense of history, tradition, and the true potentialities of man's creativity. In today's world, where often scientific development is regarded as the highest goal and where the individual frequently feels alienated from himself and those around him, the role of art becomes increasingly important in keeping open the lines of communication." Norton Simon, 1972. Norton Simon believed deeply in the power of art to communicate. One of the outstanding American art collectors of 20th century, he kept as a guiding principle his regard for the ability of the visual arts to inspire and reflect the human condition. So the next museum I went to is a Elizabeth Holmes Fisher Museum, located in the campus of the University of Southern California. In 1939, Elizabeth Holmes Fisher donated a gift for reconstruction of the museum, and in addition to founding the museum, Mrs. Fisher gave the university a significant portion of her art collection. Between 1939 and 1951, Mrs. Fisher donated a total of 74 paintings, drawings, and sculptures by European and American artists. She also mandated that the Fisher's Museum would forever remain free to the public. This commitment continues to be honored to this day, so museum is completely free admission. Mrs. Fisher's dream of having her collection act as a nucleus to attract other donations was realized in 1965, when Armand Hammer donated 48 paintings to the museum. By the way, Armand Hammer is a businessman who is a great-grandfather of the actor Armie Hammer. I'm not sure if it's Hammer or Hammer. I think I used to say Armie Hammer. At first, he collected with his brother Victor Hammer following their return to the United States. The brothers established the Hammer's Galleries in New York City. In 1958, Hammer showed his collection at the Municipal Art Gallery in Los Angeles and announced his intention to donate the collection to public institution. Between 1963 and 1974, Hammer donated a collection of works by Dutch, Flemish, German, and Italian masters of the 15th through 17th centuries. Today, the USC Fisher Museum of Art maintains a permanent collection of approximately 3,286 works of art, ranging from old master paintings to the contemporary works dating from 1,500 to the present day. Crazy. The collection comprises works by European and American artists working principally in paintings, printmaking, drawing, and photography, along with a number of sculptures and decorative art objects. I'm reading from the official USC Fisher Museum of Art website. So I had trouble to find an entrance. For some reason, I went not too straightforward to the main entrance. I went sort of through the USC campus and found a back door of the museum. If I would enter from the main entrance from the street, I immediately would see those beautiful permanent sculptures in the front of the museum, and I think they definitely a highlight of this museum. Especially this beautiful, you already saw the back of it, and now you're gonna see the front, this beautiful crying girl. This is just so special, and I've never seen something like that before. I've never seen the work of this artist. This crying girl was created by Ray Lichtenstein in 1963, and as I found that his work always kind of defined by this comic book style that you can see in form, and at the same time exploration of deep emotion and just kind of like intersection between high-end and commercial art. Definitely my favorite here. Also, I've been before in USC campus, and the whole campus is just very beautiful, very clean. There's a lot of space for just like hang out. You see a lot of benches and trees and nature, and there's flowers too. And there's also a nice cafe. So definitely, I would study there. So I went to this exhibition. The full name is Sci-Fi Magic Queer LA Sexual Science and the Imagination considers the importance of science fiction fandom and occult interests to US LGBTQ history in partnership with Getty. OMG, honestly, I when I went to this exhibition, I wasn't expecting much, but honestly, I just didn't know what to expect at all. But I was very, very surprised. Now you can see just a sort of like basic photographs, but like later, it's gonna get real dark. I think I would give a little bit maybe different name of it, but I was a little bit shocked, sort of, and surprised, but I'd say in a good way, like surprised that they have such a brave exhibition in the university, and it's just something like not very common for me, but I was just, this is kind of cool. Okay, I like this exhibition. You're gonna see now it's getting dark. You see already now, but it definitely was very, very interesting, very artistic, but yeah, especially in the red, like now we're gonna go to the green room, and green room is a little bit more like, yeah, it's sci-fi, a little bit light, some erotic there, a lot erotic, okay? But when we go to the red room, there is a lot of like Satan theme, very, very dark occult theme. And even like short films that definitely kind of gave me super weird chill vibes. But overall, I really liked it, and I think it's still on. So I would definitely recommend you to go there. But it surprised me. I think, in a good and disturbing way in the same time. this pair of East and West Angel, definitely one of my favorite. And I really love in this museum that they have a colored walls. Green room and red room. I don't know if it's for all exhibition or only for this one, but I overly think that art looks the best not on a white wall, but on a colored wall, or even in a dark wall, like on a black wall, okay? Like on this red, on this green. It's just, I feel it's harder, you know, you cannot really to tailor the different color of surfaces for each art if it's not a solo exhibition. That's why I assume galleries always have a white walls, but art is really pops, you know, on a right wall, on a right color wall, on a bright wall, colored wall. Art is definitely pops and it feels more special to me. I wanted to go to this museum that called Frederick R. Weissman Art Foundation. It's kind of maybe Beverly Hills or Brentwood area, but you know what? You have to book there, and honestly, it's pretty busy and they have a lot of rules, like you cannot shoot anything inside, only outside of the museum. And I was instructed that if I'm gonna book, then I have to walk for like 2 or 3 hours and there is no place to sit at all, which is, I think it's not a problem for me, but I don't know, I kind of feel like there's too many rules. Maybe I'll do it next time. But if somebody was in this museum, tell me how it was, if it's worth going, because reviews are great. Reviews is like 4.8 out of 5. Frederick R. Weissman Art Foundation. I think I'm gonna do this because photos on their website is just great, but only the next time. As it comes to an end, please like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and tell me in the comments below if you know any other great museums in LA where you would recommend me to go, or maybe to areas close by, or any other art related or cinema related places that you think I'd like. Thank you so much and have a great time.